Hey, Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here. I've just been soaring over the skies of Hoenn on my Latias, enjoying the sun, seeing all the great Pokemon. You know, one of my things about going to Hoenn is trying to travel an adventure with different Pokemon every time I go. There's so many cool Pokemon in the region that I just want to try them all out, you know? In fact, here are a list of my top 10 Hoenn native Pokemon. Enjoy! Number 10. Camerupt, the Flame Camel Pokemon. This fella only became a favourite in my most recent run through of Alpha Sapphire. He's bulky, he's got powerful Earthquake, powerful Flamethrower. There comes a point where you have to really choose, do I want a Numel or a Torkoal? And it's a difficult choice. I think most people disregard them both because in the Hoenn region there are a lot of water Pokemon, which is a problem for both of these guys. Camerupt's 4 times weakness to water, as well as my need to evenly level all Pokemon not using EXP share, allowed me to really play the game in a way that I'd never played it before. Numel itself is not a particularly strong Pokemon, it doesn't know an amazing roster of moves. Earthquake's pretty good, but you need to level it up, you need to keep on plowing through to level it up to get it into Camerupt, who by the time you're at the Elite Four can hold his own against Walrein and all the other ice Pokemon. But also, he's just cuddly to look at. I'd love to cuddle up to a Camerupt, I bet it'd be really warm. Number 9. Feebas. Is it a Magikarp? No, it's a Magikarp with a redesign. But one of the coolest Pokemon of the original Ruby and Sapphire game because Feebas was impossible to find. You kids these days, you got it easy. Back then, there were only so many water tiles on a specific route that you could actually catch Feebas at. And not only that, then evolving it was a whole nother issue. And a lot of people go through the Hoenn region games not knowing that Feebas even exists unless they surf to a specific island to battle a trainer. But when you learn that that's where Wallace's Milotic came from, boy, is it exciting. Immediately you want a Feebas and you want to be able to evolve it into a Milotic. It becomes this treasure. And treasure hunting for Feebas was one of the funnest things about playing the original games. Number 8. Flygon. I know you probably will think Flygon should be number 1 on the list because everyone loves Flygon. And who doesn't? It's got an awesome design, but the truth of the matter is I've never really got to know a Flygon myself. That saying, I've never really used one on my journey. Trapinch never came at a convenient time for me to use it. However, there was one ray of hope in Pokemon Colosseum where you were able to obtain a Flygon. Well, a Vibrava, but then you evolved it, and not only that, it could learn Giga Drain. I have a Flygon that knows Giga Drain. You just can't get that anymore. They certainly don't build them like they used to. I was a little upset that Flygon didn't get a Mega Evolution. It certainly seemed like the most appropriate Pokemon to get one. But hey, we never know what the future holds. Number 7.
Mudkip, Mud!
So I heard you like Mudkips. Mudkip was my first starter Pokemon in the Ruby and Sapphire games. Lovable design, kind of derpy, kind of fun. Also, it's a Pokemon that packs a punch. Mega Swampert looks badass, and it's so cool, it's the only Pokemon I've decided to actively shiny hunt for. That said, I did start it in November, and we're not an awful lot closer to finding one. But again, I found something particularly challenging about playing with Mudkip, which is that it evolves into a Pokemon that's 4 times weak to grass. But that's part of just what gave Mudkip this extra dynamic in the game for me. So yeah, I like Mudkips. Number 6. Tioga, the Sea Basin Pokemon. My first adventure of Hoenn did take place on Sapphire version. I think personally I found something a little bit scarier about the idea of the evil team trying to drown the whole of Hoenn as opposed to just bringing extra land and then people not being able to find water. And Tioga really embodied that, this true legendary Pokemon that was fearsome and it represented, you know, it would bring the death of all of Hoenn. Obviously it doesn't say it quite like that in the game, but you know, you use your imagination. Also, the ability Drizzle with the access to Thunder just kind of seems like a win-win. He was certainly a valuable member of my first time beating the Elite Four, and also, I love his design. Number 5. Halfway there, kicking it back with Blaziken. Okay, so while Mudkip might be my favourite starter, Blaziken is my favourite starter final evolution from this region. 90% of my love of it comes from its design. It's this weird chicken fighting thing with really long legs that can go on fire. At one point, it pretty much speed boosted its way into Ubers. And X and Y, of course, we even got gifted a Torchic that knew Speed Boost, which considering we already had a Kalos and a Kanto starter, Blaziken really became the core focus of the team, my favourite one of those 3 starters that I had. And while of course they did try to follow up on its awesomeness with Infernape or Emboar, they didn't quite capture it right. It's the true firefighting Pokemon. Number 4. The shooting star Pokemon Jirachi. Like Celebi and Mew, Jirachi was one of those additions to the Pokedex. Rumour, but you didn't quite know whether it was true or not. And you could even obtain it in Pokemon Channel. This, by the way, is registered as a game. It's not, it's basically a lot of short films, which I sat through about 3 times to get hold of Jirachi. And in my first run through of Alpha Sapphire, I traded up the Jirachi from Pokemon Channel and used it as a starter Pokemon. And in the end, there was this awesome space battle between Jirachi and Deoxys, and using my own imagination, I could just incorporate it into the story. Some of us just never really grow up. Jirachi really allowed for my latest run through of Alpha Sapphire to be unique and new. Thank you, Jirachi. Number 3, Rayquaza. Back before I knew about EV training or IV breeding, I had my strongest team, and on board was Rayquaza. My level 100 creature knowing moves like Ice Beam, Draco Meteor, Outrage, Overheat, a true dragon Pokemon with large power that could just destroy. And that's what Rayquaza is. He's the embodiment of everything that's cool to a teenager, young teenager. 10-year-old, I was a bit slow. As I've talked about on every top 10 list so far, the things that I love about legendary Pokemon is feeling like they're a challenge to get to, and with this, Rayquaza did not disappoint. Mastering the Mach Bite puzzle was ridiculously tough. Lots of trial and error, and lots of fighting Pokemon like Claydol and Bayonet and Dusclops. And even once you get to the top, you're in for the fight of your life against the level 70 Rayquaza. Not like now, where you can just catch it easily. You'd weaken this thing, it would fall asleep, recover its health, and wake straight back up. And if you were one of the clever people who decided to go and face Rayquaza before defeating the Elite Four, and you managed to get up to the top of Sky Pillar and battle it, and catch it, the rest of your team would be level 40 to 50, and Rayquaza would be level 70 at the front. And after that point, there just is no more Elite Four or Champion. There's just you riding a giant green dragon. Number 2. I told you earlier, Latias. I know, there's a lot of legendary Pokemon on this list, so let's go break this down. Why do I like this one? Well, remembering I was young at the time, the reason I liked most things like this, it was red. Latias or Latios? Blue is generic boy color, red is the cool one. Everyone knows red is the leader of the Power Rangers, he's the leader color. In Pokemon Heroes, they added a lot of character to Latias. Latias is this kind of Pokemon that can be friendly but also tough. Even in my OU teams today, I use Latias over Latios. And I remember catching my first one totally Master Ball free. Number 1. Metagross. The champions and now kind of my own signature Pokemon. Not on this channel, just in when I'm playing on my DS. I use it in nearly all of my OU teams. I used to use it with Choice Band, Meteor Mash, Brick Break, and Zen Headbutt for all of those powerful moves with Bullet Punch allowing you to get in there fast. And when Auras was announced and Mega Evolution started being announced, I was like, man, Mega Metagross would be awesome. And they did more than that. Mega Shiny Metagross. Okay, it delegitimizes any shiny Beldums or Metagross that people had before this event, but boy, it was so cool being able to use this Pokemon in the story. Again, they just gave this Pokemon so much fan service. And while no, I don't have any specific stories I can give you about a personal experience I've had with Metagross, all I have to say is, just look at it. It's beautiful. And there does it, there's my favorite Hoenn Pokemon. I'm gonna go soar away now on Latias. Maybe we can fly over to Sinnoh together. And to see my favorite Kanto or Johto Pokemon, click the videos on screen now, and be sure to share this with other fellow Pokemon masters. I'm flying away now, but let me know, what are your favorite Hoenn Pokemon in the comments below.